Grace and peace to you from God the Father and our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. And happy Christmas Eve. Well, I don't know about you, but what a story that was. If it's the first time you've ever heard it, you might think, well, what happened next? You see, I think there's a lot of that goes on in this season. What next is the exclamation of kids as they go from school parties to gift shopping to Santa Claus to packages coming in the mail to baking cookies, tree buying, decorating. The tempo picks up. And they look ahead to more and more, especially on this night and tomorrow morning. What next can be the groan of grown-ups, looking over lists of things to do, things to buy. The groan as they make the trips and pull off or attend parties, and they fit the Christmas season things into ordinary things. The busyness picks up. There's just more and more to do, it seems. What next can be the cry of wonder and hope, or one of disillusionment and fear. We look over, like Mary, the past year, and we ponder things deeply in our hearts. We have a number of people in this congregation, perhaps in your very own families, who live with illness. And each new pain or each new improvement carries with it the question, what next? We have people this year who have said their final goodbyes to loved ones. And it's not just the emotional and relational loss. There's the logistics, the details that follow. Sitting with papers alone and trying to figure out what next. We have parents who have been surprised for the good or the not so good by things their children have done. And as they seek help, as they seek to cope with mixed blessings, they wonder, what next? We have couples who are in new marriages, couples in long-term marriages, and things might have gone a little crazy for them. Crises have come up. For some, the crisis continues to unfold. For some, the aftershocks of the crisis still brings pain. And they ask, what next? Yes, these questions are appropriate at Christmas, especially at Christmas. These questions surrounded the very people that we heard of in the story tonight. The story of all stories, the good news itself. We've heard this story so many times, and we've neatly arranged or sort of pushed aside the fears of what next into charming little vignettes and songs. But picture with me Mary, a 13 or 14-year-old young lady, engaged to an older man, Joseph, visited by an angel. What next? Become the mother of God in flesh? Pregnant with child? Can't stay with her relatives? Can't stay at home? Can't stay with a midwife? Has to travel to Bethlehem. What next? No room anywhere. Picture Joseph. Finally gets engaged, but his betrothed is pregnant. What next? The law says to stone her. No, he'll divorce her quietly. But in a dream, an angel appears to Joseph. The growing babe within his betrothed is God's very own son, to be named Jesus, meaning God will save. What next? The emperor calls for a census. Joseph leads his pregnant betrothed on a journey, a risky journey. After all, poor Joseph, he don't know nothing about birthing no babies. So when they can't find a place to stay, when there's seemingly no hospitality, everyone is agitated and they're out of place, what next? Shepherds come to the stable. Angels sing. They are shocked. What next? And then there's Jesus, the Son of God, born to a village carpenter and his not yet official bride. The Son of God does not appear in some flash of light or on clouds. He doesn't just appear healthy. He's born, as we all are, amidst some fear, amidst some excitement, some joy, some pain, some mess, some chaos. The gladness of new life. What next? Yes, the long-awaited one has arrived, only he has no home. He comes as a stranger. He's not laid out on fine linens. He's put on straw. There's no sweetness or cleanliness about it. He comes into an unstable world. What next? Herod the king is threatened. He orders the death of all boys 2 years and younger in Bethlehem. The Messiah is not immediately sought after by wise men. He's hunted by a madman. What next? Mary and Jesus and Joseph, they must escape to Egypt. The very Son of God on the run. In a land that bound his forebears in slavery. What next? Eventually, and the reason that we remember on this night so much, birth, death, cradle to grave, what comes next eventually is a cross. God's own Son is arrested. What next? A trial. What next? He's lied about. He's denied. What next? Father, forgive them. What next? He breathes his last, and he is gone. Seems as if all hope has been vanquished. But no. What comes next is something more. 3 days later, when nothing else was expected, there was a new next called resurrection. Peace, new life. The religious and secular authorities had tried to stop a movement, but God moved onward. What next? For people of faith, like you and me tonight, the answer this night is Emmanuel. God with us right now. Can we see it? Can we feel it? Are we ready to experience it anew with all the frailties that go into answering in our lives, what next? You see, I think our problem in these very intense moments is not that we're so full of ourselves, we do that sometimes, but that we often feel empty or even stunned. The what next bears down on us like a mother in labor pains. And if we're honest, there's all within us a longing a sense of something that's needed in our lives. It may be a nagging feeling that we're somehow incomplete or lacking. It may be some sense of how fragile we are, that our finitude, our faults, and our failings weigh heavy in our heart, and we ask, what next? It's a fearful thing sometimes to acknowledge the truth. Most of us spend our days or nights trying to run away from it, or we try to attempt to fill ourselves with anything to distract us from that reality. But try as we might, we will not find what we are looking for until we turn to God. God placed that searching impulse in our hearts, in our souls, when He breathed us into existence. And it's there for a purpose, to draw us to seek Him, to really look for Him, and to say yes to God's gift of love that we celebrate tonight in the Christ child. Tonight we honor the astounding reality that Jesus was raised by Mary and Joseph, people with no status, no power, and no wealth. The only thing that they really had to offer was love. Having nothing to offer but love is exactly what the Creator of heaven and earth had in mind all along. Even though we will rush home tonight to give each other superb gifts and fix lavish dinners, it's all symbolic of this reality, that all we have to offer is love, and that love has been given to us by God. Because God is still being born. God is still redeeming. God is still giving new life to us and changing us. That is always what is next. God giving of Himself in a very, very personal and intimate way, in body, in spirit, in each other, and in bread and wine. No matter what your life circumstances are today, tonight, God called you here. He called you here to speak a word, an astounding word of life and love. A love that you didn't have to earn or to prove yourself worthy of. It is pure gift. It is grace upon grace. So come. Come to this table. Come as you are. Come here tonight and allow God to show you again what is next. The gift of Emmanuel. The gift of God's very own self. The gift of light and joy and fellowship with Him. And the people of God said,